I see what you're saying. Okay, I understand that. Okay. And almost like I was going to use the same analogy with the girl situation. It would be like overconfident. It would be like, I got this, bro. I got this. Let me go get this girl.
Yes.
And then you don't get the girl, obviously.
Sarah, I appreciate you trying to vibe with HLS on this one, but here is a textbook perfect scenario of
Please.
someone's ego. You have our resident expert telling you your two things are exactly the same thing. You could change one right now if you can change it, but your ego refuses to bite and says, "You know what? I'm right.
So
I am right. I'm not going to touch my list. This is
Refuse. One. It's your boy, SoSo Juv in the building. We are back with another episode of the My 5 Cents podcast. Yes, this is the only podcast where we bring in a guest, build up their credibility, and turn them into a judge. And let me reintroduce the cast of characters in the building. To my that way, we have HLS. What's going on, baby?
what's up, everybody?
LG, how you feeling? Still in the building?
feeling good. Feeling good.
And we have the great Sarah Spark Malone still in the building.
Good to be back with you guys.
Yes. And our topic is the top 5 signs your ego is sabotaging you. And we're going to do a brief recap of our list, starting off with you, HLS.
At number 5, I have too complacent. Number 4, defensive to new ideas. And number 3, too arrogant. And number 2, don't want to ask for help. And number 1, overconfident.
And Logical Genius, go ahead and give us your recap.
For my list, I had at number 5, it causes you to resist or even reject feedback. Number 4, you start taking things very personally. Number 3, you prioritize being right over everything else. Number 2, you overestimate your importance. And number 1, you mistake your ego for your true self.
All right. And my 5 cents on the topic is number 5, too many I statements. 4, unequal distribution of credit. 3, skipping opportunities. 2, surrounded by yes people. And 1, the inability to apologize. So, Sarah, we're about to get into the next segment, which we like to call cross-examination. This allows you the opportunity to ask questions of us on our list for any clarification you may need as you try to decide who the winner is. So do you have anything for cross-examination?
So I do think you guys did a pretty good job of explaining where you're coming from with these, but I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
And I also have an extended opportunity to you, HLS. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Would you like, I don't know if I'm breaking the rules here.
No, it's your show. It's your show.
Would you like to add one? Because for you, number 3 and number 1 are very similar. You said arrogant.
Yeah.
And then you also said overconfident.
Yeah.
He does this every week. Yes, he never comes with 5. He never comes with 5.
My 4 cents.
Sarah's talking to me. I'm talking to Sarah. Thank you. Is that okay, SoSo Juv? Can Sarah have a conversation?
We are so lucky and blessed to have Sarah on this show to give you a lifeline. Because typically, this is how you sync yourself.
Goodness.
But she's actually guiding you. This is the first time in my 5 cents history
that someone pettied him before.
Yeah. So do not blow this shot or opportunity, please, sir.
Keep it coming, and I'll wait. Because Sarah's talking to me. This is the level of overconfident, right? Inserting yourself in a conversation where you don't really belong. So here's the difference to me. Sarah. Arrogant could be the way you move. Arrogant could be how you carry yourself, right? Overconfidence is more so in your actions, right? If I'm overconfident, I might think, oh, I don't need help when I'm lifting this weight. I got it by myself, right? Arrogant is more so like, oh, right? The way I'm walking, with my stature, I'm too good for this. The way I might hold my glass, the way I'm drinking with my pinky up. that is
Oh,
that is
so you're
like,
talking about a whole vibe,
yeah, arrogant in terms
like
of your
arrogance
behavior.
as a vibe, and
Correct.
overconfident being like, I'm
Poor
actually
decisions.
okay.
I don't know if you were clear on that piece, because you're saying to me
Please,
that
please, SoSo Juv, please. It wasn't your turn, but go ahead.
I mean, she brought it up, so I have to make sure I'm clear in what is
Yes.
being said to me right now, so I
Yes.
can truly process what you're saying to me.
Okay.
All right. So you're saying the difference is one is an act and the other is what?
No. So one is how you carry yourself.
How
Another
you
is
carry yourself.
how
Okay.
you carry yourself. Another is leads to poor decisions.
Okay.
That's the
Well,
difference.
don't you think though, does arrogance, like, if I'm carrying myself arrogantly, don't you think that is going to lead to me taking arrogant actions or like being cocky in that way? Or are you strictly saying overconfident is like, no, guys, I got this, and then failing, and then like that's how it's sabotaging you.
So true story. Uh, we're in Vegas a
Here we
couple
go.
years ago. For there's a couple of birthdays that we're celebrating in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and there was one of my cousins there who shunned a plus size girl. It's like, oh, I don't want to talk to this person because she's going to lessen my attraction to other people. And I'm thinking, hold on, wait, she might have some friends. She seems cool. Why would you shun her? Right? His arrogance, the way he carried himself, his posture was like, I'm too good to talk to you. Right?
I see what you mean.
Yep.
Okay.
Now the overconfident part is something more specific in terms of like, it's okay. I had a couple of drinks, but I could drive home. Right?
Uh-huh.
I don't need someone else to drive for me, or I got this way. I can lift it by myself. I don't need someone to spot me. That's more of like, to me, that's the difference. That's the separator.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. I understand that. Okay. And almost like I was going to use the same analogy with the girl situation. It would be like overconfident. It would be like, I got this, bro. I got this. Let me go get this girl.
Yes.
And then you don't get the girl, obviously.
Sarah, I appreciate you trying to vibe with HLS in this one, but here is a textbook perfect scenario of
Please.
someone's ego. You have our resident expert telling you your two things are exactly the same thing. You could change one right now if you can change it, but your ego refuses to bite and says,
Refuse.
"You know what? I'm right.
So
I am right. I'm not going to touch my list. This is
Refuse.
Hey,
listen.
you know what though? That's his choice.
So not
yeah.
only
So
not,
this is the point of the cross examination, right? Like, what did you mean by that? And for me
Yes.
to get his understanding of what he's trying to explain.
But
see.
Sarah, I think this is the first time in my 5 cent history that a judge said, I allow you to swap one of your answers out and
Yes.
put something else in.
See, here's the thing.
Overconfident. Or is
Here's
it
the thing that
arrogance? I
you
don't
two
know.
do not understand. I am on another level. I am on the 5th level of enlightenment.
Oh no! Don't get
Oh
that
wow.
level. Don't get that fifth level of
Wow.
understanding.
So
Oh
you
my
two,
goodness.
I'm writing that
don't
one
know
down.
that the
That's
bathroom
good.
is in the bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
He's
Oh,
fifth
God.
level of enlightenment. I'm going to use that.
Please
Yes.
do. And say I said it.
It is rare. It is rare air, Sarah. Not too many people get on the 5th level of understanding. I'm really only aware of 2 people. Only aware of 2. But
The fifth
HLS is
level of
trying to get up there.
understanding.
So
All right. Let's see. Do I have any more questions for you, HLS? I don't think so. I think I understand the other ones from you.
Okay.
all right. Do you have
Okay.
anything else for cross-examination?
Oh yeah. Yes. So, you said too many I statements. What do you mean by this?
Yes.
Can you elaborate? Can you expand?
So when you have too many I statements, you've made everything about you and how you have been offended or this is affecting you. Where sometimes it's about the other person or about the team, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a working relationships or in the team atmosphere, whether it's in sports. You see it all the time in regards to I lost because they played like crap, talking about their teammates, things of that nature. So often, and I've seen it, and honestly, was had the displeasure of working in a toxic work environment. I always thought that it was just like this urban myth. Oh, that's what people just say to like not want to do their job. But when I actually got in one, I realized that the leader of that workplace very much was about I, and everything. And it permeated in the toxic culture.
Mm, 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 mm. So you're talking both victim mentality and like heroes mentality. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Got it. That makes sense. Skips out on opportunities. Skips out on opportunities. Do you mean like playing small?
Yes, playing small. Exactly
Okay.
that.
Okay, I think yours are pretty straightforward too. Yeah, I don't have anything more for you. Last one I have those for logical genius.
Okay.
And it was overestimating your level of importance, the look at me mode. Do you want to expand on that?
I'm sorry. What was the last part? You said the look at me mode.
Number
Is that what
two,
you
yeah,
said?
you said overestimating your level of importance, like look at me, look at me, look at me. I think I
Yeah,
wrote that down because you might have said it.
yeah, I did, and I think that is probably maybe a little bit deeper than what SoSo was saying with the I, right? You're constantly talking about yourself, but in this sense, you think the world revolves around you. That everything that you do, everyone's paying attention to you. But at the end of the day, this person's just waiting for the meeting to end, or thinking about the next email they need to respond to, or what lunch they want to get, or whatever. And that's just in the work environment. But not everyone revolves around you. Not everyone's worried about what you're thinking and what you're doing. So you having that ego that causes you to think that you're doing things, that you are the big shot in everyone's life, and that everyone you act and everyone else follows, or everyone else responds based on your movement is a really dangerous thing, a dangerous mentality to have.
Okay, that makes more sense to me. I wasn't sure if we were talking about something totally different, so I'm glad I elaborated on that. So this is like literally you think that everybody is thinking about you as well.
Yeah,
Because
in
there
a
are self-obsessed people that like they just kind of move through and literally all they think about is themselves, but they don't
Mhm.
necessarily go the next step of thinking, oh yeah, everybody else is
Others.
thinking about me
Yeah,
too.
it's the others. It's not just
Got it.
not you. I think that's where I would distinguish the difference between what I have like in social. It has number 5 with the too many I statements. I think that's you thinking about yourself, but this is you thinking you're important to everyone else.
Yeah. Because I am, I was like, took him a little bit, like a little delay there. Okay. Yeah, it is all about me for sure.
You said it with a
That's
very
why I'm
straight face.
here.
That's why I'm like, oh, okay.
I like to do that. Yeah. I make jokes about. Okay. Yeah. I think I get you guys. I think I have all I need. Do you guys have more you guys want
Yeah,
to
we
milk
actually
out of
have
each
some
other?
things.
Always do.
HLS, you want to kick us off with what you got for cross examination?
Yeah.
Well, actually, before you do that, HLS, I want to say this.
Please.
I find it quite interesting that you all chose to go like more of the aggressive, like action forward route of the ego rather than the passive side. I'll say some things in my top 5 that might like resonate with that. Actually, the only one who did was
That'd be me.
number
That'd
3
be me.
skips out on opportunities, playing small. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else was like, ugh, it's like very clearly my ego is out here. So that was
Yeah.
just interesting that I pointed out.
Yeah, I would say, at least for me, I think that's the interesting angle, right? Because when you say the word ego to a lot of people, you have a negative thought, negative connotation about that word, right? You think that it's bad. And you said earlier, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a tool. When used right and used properly, it can be used in great ways, right? For yourself and for others. So I think that was, I would say, my fault of taking it from immediately hearing ego and thinking, okay, it's the bad side of the ego, it's the bad side of the ego, and not necessarily thinking. And I'll give SoSo Juv credit for that number 3. I think that is a big one. Skipping opportunities is an important one. I think that's an overlooked one, and as you mentioned earlier on the show.
Nice.
Are you gonna just leave that brown on there? Logical genius? Is this brown nose and
Yo,
SoSo Juv?
the man understands
It's about
logic.
admitting to
What are you
being
talking
wrong.
about?
You just said
Logic.
admitting to being wrong. I can't give credit to my boy. Like,
So
ego check.
let's speaking of
I
that.
was like, that's good humility there. Nice.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I'm not buying whatever you guys are saying. SoSo Juv, you're number 1.
Yes.
Inability to apologize. Is that necessarily an ego thing? Or is that another personality flaw that is separate from your ego?
I think it's the root of it. And what's interesting, and this was a little bit of my cross-examination, I found it interesting the way Logical attacked it. He usually doesn't attack these topics in this manner. But it says the signs. The topic is the signs that your ego is sabotaging you. And if you find it painful to apologize, your ego is sabotaging you. 100%, hands down. So I think that the basis of whatever other branches of character flaws and not saying sorry, it comes back to the ego.
Well, I think this would be almost like a branch of arrogance, right? Like, I couldn't possibly be wrong, and I'm not going to admit it to you.
This is fair. All of this is fair. However, there are certain times where there's two sides, and someone's clearly not the wrong one. So why would you have to apologize if you're just not wrong? It's your belief system, right? Like, you believe in something different. I believe in something different. Two opposite things can be true at the same time. So why would one person have to apologize?
So
you made it your number 1. I'm not saying it shouldn't be on the list, but you made it number 1. Just because I have a different point of view than yours doesn't necessarily make me wrong, and I need to apologize for it.
All right. So what you're doing here is you're turning, you're turning my number 1 into this little microscope of that one time that I'm right. And no, what I said is the inability to apologize. That means you ever, like, you're unable to. It's not a thing of, oh, I'm right or wrong on this time, and I just don't want to say that I'm wrong. I don't want to say I'm sorry. That's something totally different. We're talking about the ability to be able to do it. And because your ego is so big, you find it like to be able to say I'm sorry.
Am I safe to assume that what you mean by this is the ability to apologize when you are wrong? Not necessarily when we disagree, right? Because I can apologize if I've attacked somebody in a way or acted incorrectly towards somebody and maybe they didn't deserve it, or I wasn't how I wanted to act, and I can apologize for that. But I can also, but then I can say, but I still feel the way that I feel.
100%.
See, Sarah had to finish your thought. Your thought was incomplete.
No, because you're on the 5th level. I need you to come back down to the 4th level and understand some things.
He's in the basement thinking he's on the 5th level, but that's a whole other story.
That is actually a good top 5 for the ego. Thinking I'm at a place that I'm not even near.
So I do want to touch on SoSo's number 1 as well. So I think SoSo mentioned in his life that he's surprised that none of us had this. And I think, so Sarah, what I do for work often requires me to do a root cause analysis, right? And that means that you're not trying to find the symptoms, but you're trying to find the core reason for someone doing something. And you just touched on it. I think your inability to apologize is the fact that you want to win over everything, and you think you win over everything, and that approach causes you to approach situations, life, in a certain way where you don't ever think you're wrong because you think you're right all the time. So you have no reason to apologize. So that's, to me, is the root cause of why you're not apologizing, is because your ego is causing you to think that you are always right and you always want to win. You always need to win. And that's why you don't apologize. I think that's why. So I think it's in the same family, but I think mine's is a little bit deeper in that regard, that it's going into the root cause as opposed to the end result.
Well, thank
And
you
you're
for
talking
trying
about
to
number
boost up
3.
your answer there. But I think that you really helped out my claim against HLS, which is the root cause going back to that ego that you're so confused about. So I don't even understand that piece, HLS. But yes, I agree to a certain degree with you there, Logical Genius. Logical. Oh, you already went for a cross-examination? You want to stay on my...
I think so.
Okay.
There's nothing more to say about HLS. I think Sarah gave her a second opportunity to switch. I thought that was
Oh, that's beautiful.
when you went
That
back
is
to him,
great.
Sarah, I thought you could
No.
say, "Are you sure you don't want to swap something?" I'm like, I'm done at this point.
I didn't
you
need
came
to.
with that, I would have been like, I am
They're
done.
they're different.
So for
Oh.
me, Sarah, for cross-examination, you already pointed it out, but I really wanted to reiterate that I think the difference maker in these lists is definitely my number 3, in which I take the other side of the ego, which I don't believe that my counterparts gave recognition to. And I think that is a piece that people definitely have to understand, that there's another part of the ego that could potentially be sabotaging you. So not anything really to bash the other list. I think HLS buried himself already. And I think that I've shown that what differentiates my list from the other lists. So I believe, Sarah, it is decision time. We want to know who is in third place.
Well, I want to explain why I'm making the decision that I'm making.
Please do.
Okay.
I too operate in terms of root cause analysis. However, I also look at like what is all encompassing. So it's broad stroke and it's pinpoint, right?
Mhm.
So I'm making my decision based on this analysis alone.
It's your criteria.
None of the schmoozy talking. I want you to know that has nothing to do with my decisions. So number 3, third place. Sorry to say this, HLS.
As soon as somebody starts to say, I'm sorry to say this, I know the next 3 letters that are coming out of that person's mouth. HLS.
I'm sorry. I had to do it because
Sarah, go ahead, Sarah. It's the most incredible.
there are two that are too similar, and I feel like it doesn't get deep enough into like I don't know, just what we experience on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, so that's that.
Sarah, you didn't hear the Vegas?
No, HLS.
True story.
You didn't hear her. She did a lifeline. First time ever in my 5 cents history.
No.
I will say this. I will say I do admire.
No.
So I do admire his like ability to argue for what he was trying to say. It's like and that's all I wanted to do was just understand where are we going with this one.
Still think
his ego will not allow him to admit that he lost. He thinks he's like won. He won. They think he won.
Yeah.
That's hey, you know what? Sometimes it's okay to just let him have the experience.
All right, Sarah. We want to know who is in first place. We do not care about number 2. We want to know who is in first place this week.
Yep. And this one was kind of hard. You guys, honestly, all 3 of you had really good lists. Like you're going through them and I'm like, oh, that's a good one. That's actually pretty good. Number 1, though, first place. Gonna go with Logical Genius on this one.
Of course. It's the logical choice.
The reason is because they're very robust, like they're explained very well. They cover pretty much different buckets. Each one of them doesn't really dabble in the next bucket. It also gets to the root cause here some of the time, most of the time with these. And actually, number one is what really got me, is when you mistake your ego for your true self. Like when we start to say, oh, this is who I am. I am anxious, I am depressed, or I am whatever. So that was, yeah.
Sarah, you made the most logical choice. That's the only choice you could have made. Your only choices was who was number 3 and who was number 1, and you were right on both counts.
Unbelievable.
Sarah, I need to know. What is your 5 cents on the topic?
All right. Yes. You guys are going to be shocked to hear that really ultimately there's only one. But I will give you 5. I will give you 5. But I'm going to give you the number 1. The only thing you need to know.
Wait. No. We got to build this up. We got to build this up.
Build it up.
You want to know the 5 first?
5, 4, 3, 2, and then the only one. We need to build this up.
All right. Cool. Let's do my 5. And I actually did 6 because I really need to do 6. So
you should have gave HLS one of them. That's what you should have done.
Yeah, you should have said HLS. I got you on board because you are just.
I'm like, HLS, check the chat. Check the chat. All right. These are in no particular order. And I actually named them like little names. Okay. First, we have the attention starved. That people that are more focused on external validation rather than following your own desires and instincts. Okay, so the attention starved. A subcategory of this would be like you guys said it, thinking the world revolves around me. Right. So I either go one way or the other. I am obsessed with getting other people's validation, permission, and help me make my decisions. Or I just think if somebody's mad, it's because of me. It's my fault. And everything kind of revolves around me. Okay. My number 2 is I call this the merry-go-round. You attract similar patterns, the same similar patterns in people and things, situations in life, these types of things. Okay. Ego sabotage. And the biggest kicker in this one is that you know what's wrong. You know you don't want it, but you keep doing it anyway. The know-it-all. You guys mentioned this one too. You get defensive and controlling when others try to help you. Or there's like a brick wall to feedback and growth and criticism. So this comes up in both the defensive way and the inability to accept help. So that's kind of lumped into one category. Okay, number 4, the cat and the mouse. Sabotaging when things get really good in life, relationships, finances, and then you do something to push it all away or ruin it.
That's the ego thing.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Okay, number 5 is called the stubborn ox. Rigid in our ways of thinking, beliefs, ideas, opinions, feelings, and refuse to open your mind or hear other people's or change your heart or opening your heart to change.
I think we found a new alter ego for HLS. The stubborn ox. We're gonna have to introduce you now as the stubborn ox. Moving forward.
That's the zodiac sign.
That's on my list.
With that sign, I'm
on my list.
Oh, I'm honored to have this new.
It's on my list.
Oh my gosh. And number 6, the bonus one I have here is the Debbie Downer. And this one is actually like the harsh inner critic, right? Like nothing's ever good enough. I'm never doing enough. I can never be good enough. Just never allows you to feel good about anything that you've done in your life or that other people are doing. Like this, just high expectations, Debbie Downer, always the negative side of things.
That one sounds familiar.
To you or?
No, to me, yeah. What's up?
Yeah, we all have that inner critic. That's a real one for sure.
But so which one is the one that encompasses
the only
all?
One that matters? You guys, the number 1 and only sign that your ego is sabotaging you is you are experiencing suffering or distress, or you're not experiencing fullness of life and purpose. That's it.
Whoa. That's simple.
If you are limiting yourself, held back, feeling distress or suffering, Your ego is sabotaging you.
Interesting.
And then how it manifests
Very
itself
clear.
is so vast. By the way, nobody talked about people pleasing, codependence, victim mentality, overachiever. Those are all egoic sabotages as well. Even like lack of motivation. We hear people, I'm just not motivated. That's your ego sabotaging you.
Yeah. But I think that kind of goes into SoSo's number 3 then, right? Right, skipping opportunities, thinking you're smaller than you really are, or whatever, and not
Could
taking
be.
advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a subcategory of that. But sometimes people skip opportunities because they are afraid of judgment, or they're afraid
Yeah.
of failure, or they're afraid of like, well, why should I be up there? I'm just really small, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they know that they could, but they play small on purpose.
Man, maybe I should have moved number 3 up to number 1. I don't understand. Sarah,
The
what we
post-mortem
do,
on it. The post-mortem on it is going to be very
yeah,
interesting now.
yes, very much so. So
Yep.
what we do is we went out to the socials and we asked the people what they thought on the topic, and this is what they had to say. At number 5, the people had, you get angry a lot. At number 4, plotting revenge for perceived wrong. So I'm assuming, like, if you feel like something's wrong, your mind just goes to a place of I have to seek vengeance, which I think that's a heavy one. I think the people got that one right. At number 3, they had self-doubt and an increase in negative self-talk. At number 2, relationships around you begin to decline. So the people that were once around you no longer want to be around you. And at number 1, a fear of doing things you were once not afraid of and even possibly accomplished before. And
Huh.
they put there was a few examples, but the biggest one was like going for a job interview.
So lack of
And that's what
confidence, basically.
yeah. So that's what the people had to say about the topic there. Logical genius. Did you happen to ask artificial intelligence what it thought?
I did, Sarah. So we also check with ChatGPT, which is the new thing now. I know you mentioned that HLS might have used ChatGPT for his, so he
Nah,
might have used
Google.
the wrong version.
Google is his
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah, he used version 1.0. We're on
Clearly,
version
if
4.5.
I use
So,
Google, I would have won.
yeah. So at number 5, GPT said, I think you mentioned this in your list, validating addiction. Or so it said, while it can steer you off course, seeking validation is human. If you're aware of it, it's manageable. It only becomes deeply harmful when it completely overrides your inner compass. Number 4 is fear of being wrong. It slows down learning and creates defensiveness, but is often rooted in this desire to improve or be seen as capable. It's a fixable ego trap once you develop self-compassion. Number 3, resistance to vulnerability. This blocks real connection and emotional growth. It limits intimacy and trust, both personally and professionally, and can leave you feeling isolated even when surrounded by people. At number 2, it's need for control. This burns you out and strains relationships. It kills collaboration and limits your ability to adapt or receive help. Over time, it creates tension and stunts progress. And at number 1, GPT said, over identifying with success or failure. This is the most dangerous because it ties your worth to outcomes. It creates fear-based decision-making, perfectionism, and emotional chaos. If you identify crumbles every time things don't go as planned, it's hard to build resilience or find peace or feel peace. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Wow,
Not so
GPT
bad.
even
Not
gave some
bad.
good explanations there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's attaching to outcomes. That's a big
That's a
saboteur.
big one
Right.
too.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
So
But that's
Sarah,
like, that's like another form of external validation. Yeah, go ahead, SoSo.
yeah. Well, I agree with you on that piece. I know that we had talked in kind of the pregame leading up to this, and I know that you had asked your tribe the question, and there was a lot of feedback coming from your tribe. Was there any themes that you saw from the responses that you got from your followers?
Yeah. Yeah, I put an email blast out about this show, and a lot of people love this topic on the ego. Here's what I got. right? I got some common themes here. External validation was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thinking everything is about them was another one. Intentionally holding myself back because I don't want to appear arrogant or maybe wrong.
Oh,
That was a good one. That was a good one. And I want to touch on that in just one moment.
Please
And
do.
then the saying yes too much, like saying yes and then regretting it later, and just like that habit of being the yes person. But I want to touch on this intentionally holding myself back because I don't want to appear arrogant or maybe even wrong. So here's the thing, right? People think that it's the fear of being wrong or a fear of being too much or a fear of failure or whatever that may be. It all comes down to this fear of judgment. We don't fear failure. We fail all the time. If we failed in silence in private, it'd be fine. We wouldn't have that much of an issue. It's we have a fear of how we're perceived by others.
Yeah.
And being judged by others. And that's where all of this holding myself back, not apologizing, right? All of it comes down to this fear of how we're perceived or judged. Because if I say I'm sorry, that means I'm wrong. Now they're going to view me as weak, and now the brain goes, right? Takes off on that thought.
Yeah.
Huh. It's so interesting because I talked about the toxic environment that I worked in. Part of that, and I guess the major lesson that I learned from that experience was that I was dimming my light to ensure that that top dog felt comfortable in their position.
Yep.
And it's a promise that I made after going through that experience. I said, I'm never going to dim my light
Never.
ever again
Good for
because
you.
it just created so much angst. And I mean, my physical stressors, I get like my stress is in my lower back. And it seemed like on a daily basis, my lower back was in some sort of like crisis. Like, oh my God, I have pain in my lower back. And it really was well, I don't want to be perceived as a threat to the number one. So let me lower and lessen myself so that we don't do so. And I don't want to say it was a complete failure, but yeah, it was a complete failure. We could have done so much better as a team, as a unit. So yeah, that one was heavy. I'm happy that your tribe brought that up.
And people do it all the time in relationships.
Yeah, you often think of ego as being larger versus smaller.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's why I noticed in your guys' it was like this big robust thing, whereas a lot of the times it does creep in those ways that we play small, we lessen ourselves, we don't speak our truth, right? People pleasing, it's codependence, it's all of these things. It's even anxiety. Are they mad at me? I'm afraid of conflict, I'm afraid of abandonment.
Yeah, and those are the things that people don't necessarily recognize about the ego, right? And that's why I think our list, for the most part, touched on the opposite side of things, because that's what we're kind of familiar with. Like I mentioned, we're familiar with what we know, and not really knowing that side of it, that it's just as important, if not more important, than the side that people are accustomed to knowing or seeing.
You saying that is just case in point, right? It's like we've been taught and trained that the ego is it's almost like me against my ego, and I don't want to let my ego get too big. Then this fear or misconception that the ego is taking over causes me to overcompensate and actually underplay myself. And now we don't even recognize confidence in the world. Right? So many people have attacked me for being know-it-all, cocky, whatever that may be, or at first they're attracted to it because they're like, wow, I want that power, I want to feel that, blah, blah, blah. And then they get a little bit more into themselves and they're like, she makes me feel bad about myself. And it's like, I'm sorry that my presence offends you because you're not as confident in who you are. But that's how we have this misconception of the ego, that it's this thing that is robust and that we should be smaller. We should be quiet. And we don't want to we don't want to appear arrogant.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that is gender-based, because the females that replied back to this question came from more of the place of small, whereas the males that responded back came from more of a place of big. And of course, the three of us, and us being three males, only out of the 15 on the list, only one of them addressed the other side. So I wonder how much is gender related.
Spot on, because you know why that is, SoSo? Because the man is actually conditioned that his masculinity is tied to his
Ego,
ability to exert his ego. And the opposite is true for a female, right? Your worth and your identity as a woman is tied to the fact that you're submissive and you're gentle and you're
and
these types of
vulnerable.
things.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Man.
that's hey, we could go both sides with that. That's toxic masculinity, baby, and that's also toxic femininity.
Yeah.
All it is these different polarities with
all
the ego at
connected.
work. Yep.
100%. I think we could go on to this topic for another hour.
Good.
Yeah. So, Sarah, this is the part of the show where you have the opportunity to shout out any projects or any social media or anything of that nature. So go ahead.
Yeah, you guys, thanks for that opportunity too. The only thing I got going on right now is keep an eye out for my live workshops. I do them for free on the ego. And my book, Affirmations for a Peaceful Life, is out on all channels, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. This is all about basically our egoic experience as humans and how to find peace within that, and step out of the ego, or at least harmonize the ego. And then for everybody who's interested in working with me one-on-one on a deeper level, you could just email me, sarah@sparkflc.com, or go to my website, www.sparkflc.com.
All right, so check it out. I might have to go pick up the book, Affirmations for a Peaceful Life. I need that in my life for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I think we all could use a little bit more peace. Yeah.
Yes.
And then also just find me on social. Instagram is Sarah_Spark Malone, and I'm on Facebook, Sarah Spark Malone. If you Google me, you'll find plenty of stuff.
We'll put all the links in our show notes.
Perfect.
There
Thanks,
you go.
guys.
There you go. Google her. Don't Google the topic like HLS does. So let's go ahead and say good night to the people. Go ahead, HLS. Kick us off.
Sarah, you stepped in the wrong direction. However, it was a good episode. It's a good show. Thank you for your insight. Good night, everyone.
And I'm going to go ahead and say good night to the people. Sarah, your decision making was quite questionable. I'm the only one that got in touch with their feminine side. And you denied me. You struck my ego down. But it's okay. It's not too late to say I'm sorry. Everyone, have a good night. And Logical Genius and our champ for this week, please say good night to the people.
Yes, first and foremost, Sarah, I want to thank you for being on the show. You made the logical choice. And there was no other alternative to but my list. It just made the most sense. So I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
And Sarah, no, let me do this right. And the brilliant Sarah Spark Malone, please say goodnight to the people.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. This was, I will say, I've done a lot of podcasts. This was my favorite show ever. The topic, the people, the format, you guys are really amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. And to everyone else, I love you guys. Hopefully we'll connect soon, and good night.